Good afternoon, everybody, or maybe it's morning when you're watching this, or maybe it's evening. Hi, how you doing? I am walking through the streets of Reading, where in about, a couple of days now, students will be arriving again. Students are back on campus this year. Obviously, it's going to look a little bit different for everyone. It sounds like a lot of the students won't have lectures anymore altogether in big lecture theatres. That'll be online, but they will be having in-person seminars and tutorials and one-to-ones. Their social lives are going to look very different, and particularly if they're freshers and they're starting for the first time, it's going to be a massively different experience than that to which people who would have come last year or when you were at university would have lived through. And I guess for me, in my role as a student mission developer with Fusion, and also as the student pastor of Greyfriars, we're thinking about, okay, how can we reach this generation of students who are going to have more resilience than any other generation, I think. They've finished school in a really strange way. They haven't got to take their final exams. Went through the whole tumultuousness, is that a word? I don't know, I've gone with it, of the exams scandal. And they've been formed in the fire, basically, I think. And they're going to arrive at university. And this is the thing that surprised me from having spoken to as many as I have. So my job with Fusion throughout the summer, I spent a lot of my time preparing young people for university, so 17, 18-year-olds who are going to be arriving on campuses in this month and in next month. And in my time spent with them, I was surprised by how hopeful and excited they still were. And I think that's probably because I put myself into their shoes and I say, oh man, I would hate this. I loved my Freshers Week, I loved starting university. And to think of having to do Freshers Week in the way they're going to have to, not being able to go out to all the big kind of Freshers Fairs straight away, the big societies fairs, see everything that's going on, just being around the Students' Union, a real buzz, a real vibe of excitement, new beginnings. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know how I'll be able to cope without that. And yet actually this is just a generation, and this is just a class of students who are saying, this is the situation we find ourselves in. Clearly it's regrettable, but we have no option but to go for it. I find that so encouraging. And so it fills me with hope as someone who works with Fusion and also as a student pastor, that our students are going to be arriving hungry, in a couple of weeks. They're not here ruining the fact that they're having to start in lockdown, but actually they are ready just to take things where they are and go for it. That's what's going on. And I guess, as I say, that's the majority of what I've been doing with Fusion over the last few weeks and months. Have also been lucky enough to help develop a resource for Youth for Christ as well. So they saw the stuff that we did. We're delivering our Prep for Uni content, which is sort of 4 sessions, and we delivered them an hour session over the course of a week. Youth for Christ then approached us and said, hey, we'd love to have one of these to go on our website as a single standalone resource. And so I was very, very lucky to be asked to be on the team that put that together from Fusion. So that's been really cool. What else have I been doing? A lot of podcast stuff over the summer. So I've been given the reins to the Fusion podcast, and have had student workers and students and lots of other cool people on to talk about what God's been doing on their campuses over the last year. I'll throw some links down in the email that I send this out in. So if you can go and watch some of that if you want. I think they're pretty good. And we have some cool ones coming up as well. I'm going to be doing one with Christians in sport who are some of my favourite people, or Christians in shorts, as I believe my mother likes to call them. So yeah, we're doing a lot of that, producing a lot of content for our written blog as well. I'm still a writer at heart, and yeah, did a number of things around prep for uni with that as well. So actually, one of the coolest things about our course that we were running, so I was involved with the running and delivering of these courses throughout the week, but we had like feedback forms that went out at the end, and as part of that, we gave the students, or gave the young people a chance to tell us any more questions that they hadn't asked during the week, or hadn't maybe felt comfortable asking in front of everyone else in these sort of like little webinars that we were running. And I took a number of those questions and turned them into blogs. So talked about some stuff about results day, A-level results day, talked about finding and settling in a church. What else did we talk about? I talked about relationships. So I've done a number of cool blogs now, and I'll throw some more links down there as well, where you can go and just check out a load of the blogs that I've written if you want to, of course. So that's been going on. Yes, and then moving into September, as we are now, once again looking to support the churches that I'm connected with in London and Reading and High Wycombe, to reach students in the best way that they can. There's some churches doing some really awesome stuff. I had one email last week from a church leader in Greenwich, from an Ichthus congregation, who just told me everything that they'd planned to do for students this September. And I remember when we had a meeting, when would it have been? Maybe kind of like 9 months ago. It would have been the last few months of 2019. And we sat down and he said, we haven't got any students. We really, really want some. What are we going to do? And we kind of spent the hour talking about just raising the faith level, I think. To say actually that, you know, there are students here, there are so many students in our cities who are there waiting to be reached, and even if we're just counting on our fingers those few Christian students who are here, have we got the wrong end of the stick? We're saying there's not any students, and yet we're looking at, you know, the figures, and there's 11,000 students at the University of Greenwich. And he was telling me, this church leader called Stephen, in this email that he sent me the other day, all about the things he's got planned for Freshers Week, everything they're going to do to try and love and serve the students in that part of London. And I let out an audible "oh yes" in our church office, such that everyone turned around and looked at me in a bit of a weird way. But that's just like the flavour of what churches are planning to do. It makes my heart sing when we see churches responding that way to some of the challenges that we can bring to them. So that's what's going on. And if I would love it if you would pray for some of that. Pray for those conversations that I will have with churches, with church leaders who are maybe in that position of, like Stephen, needing to have their faith raised, and then receiving those emails or whatever else it is to say, here's everything that we're doing. We're going to go out to the students, we're going to serve them, we're going to love them, we're going to connect with them, and we're going to tell them who Jesus is and how he can change their lives. So please pray for me in that. And also just in my own work. I'm very fortunate, very blessed to have an intern this year called Abby, who's going to make my life a lot easier in terms of the student work that we're doing, which is very handy. So she is given a year to the church, and she's going to be doing a few things with kind of international mission and some admin support as well. But the bulk of her time will be spent doing student work. So excited to equip her, resource her, uphold her, lift her up, put her in positions where she can try out gifts of teaching, leading, a load of other really good things as well. So that's going on. And the other thing that I'm doing is I'm a student again. I am once again a student with the Westminster Theological Centre, who are a theological college, accredited through the University of Chester. So Fusion have gone into cahoots with WTC, Westminster Theological Centre, and have developed a graduate diploma, which is a 2-year course, which is built around their standard kind of course for people, which is their Kingdom Theology module, or sort of Kingdom Theology course with lots of really good modules as a part of it. But then Fusion have added on the student ministry as well. So I'm doing a graduate diploma in Kingdom Theology and student ministry, which is really good. So I started that a couple of weeks ago. I have a single hub night per week. So my Tuesday nights are taken up now by theological study in my Thames Valley hub. But then also they teach you in these residentials that have like intensive lectures. And I just had my first one. I did something in the region of like 30 lectures in 7 days. I was a bit zonked after that. But yeah, I'm a student again, and I would love it if you could pray for that too. I'm desperate to study theology, seriously. So it's just amazing that I'm able to be here. It's able to happen. The funding was there as well. So yeah, that's what's going on. Prayer for my Fusion work, for my church work, for my study. Is just so appreciated from you guys, and always please let me know how I can be praying for you. I don't mind how small it is or how you might consider insignificant. You are my partners. I love you so much. You enable me to do this and to live my dream of standing out here in the mission field, so thank you for all the ways that you support me and uphold me in that, and let me know how I can be praying for you. All right, cheers guys.